Yes. So, hello everybody. First of all, special thanks to Aegis School to making a part of this program. Really happy to be here. Also, thanks to Mr. Vijayendra who has set the right context. Actually, I'm going to clarify a lot of things here. You have moved from technology to business. I'm going to move from business to technology because that's what this KPMG do. Okay. Let me come down to this particular presentation where I'll be, more focusing on how professional services firms like KPMG, EY, or Big Fours, in general, they are trying to utilize and use AI and analytics to do more effective audits. This is going to be a little different in terms of what you have studied or what you got, knowledge about. But I'm gonna make it, a little more interesting in terms of how you can also build a career around it. Okay. So let me quickly get started with the presentation. Uh, so yes, I really like this quote. The secret of getting ahead is getting started, because a lot of people wait for the right opportunity and they keep waiting, and then they end up doing nothing. Okay, they kind of end up doing something which they don't intend to do, and they lose a very crucial time. Okay, so my advice to all the students here and all the data science aspirants who's attending this online as well as offline here, to please get started in your career. Or it could be a start which you don't want, but definitely you will reach where you want to be. Okay, that's your intention should be. So today I'm going to cover certain agendas point here, which is audit and risk assessment, primary concerns, our risk radar, how data science is getting utilized in audits, analytics areas and automation, technology and its way forward. And at the end of the day presentation, I'm going to tell you about how can you build career around these audit analytics, which kind of started, I believe, 6 years back, 6 or 7 years back, when this whole agenda of doing a lot of analytics in audits. Otherwise, audit, if you hear about audit, you typically, you will typically refer to something which is, very transactional, sampling. Somebody will come to the organization, they will collect few invoices, audit them, and say that you are a perfect firm. Okay, but you are aware of a lot of scams that's happened previously, and that's kind of triggered that this is not something where the endpoint should be, and you need to invest in technology. And instead of checking a sample, you need to check the entire population to understand whether there is any fraud which is happening or anything which could trigger something which is non under which is not under regulations. So let me move to the next part of it. So I'll give you a quick introduction about myself. Most of you are little aware of it, but I have kind of started my career. Do not table too much of experience like you have here in the panel before, but I have started my career when actually audit analytics was started. Okay, the professional services firms were using it. You hear all these names, big names who are doing analytics, but you are kind of unaware of what actually do. And this particular space is not leveraged and did not become popular because it is very concentrated in audits. And people who are beyond that particular organization do not have access to any audit data. Okay, this is the confidential data which you will deal with. So that's why I kind of, when I started my career, I got lucky and I spent my lot of time with EY India before and Smart Consulting based out of Singapore, where we used to design solutions in terms of financial audits. And I'm right now associated with KPMG. I take care of analytics as well as IT reviews there, in which we audit the IT systems of clients. So most of the work is around building digital driven audits and financial analytics. I have been associated with Aegis in the past. My alumni matter, my UPS, where from where I graduated, I did my engineering from there. And followed by, I have given similar kind of understanding in IIM Rohtak as well as Aegis in the past. So that's how I'm trying to build the knowledge around it so that people and the aspirants like you can make a career also in it. Okay. So, before I get started, I want to, refer back to what Mr. Vijayendra, in the last presentation told everybody, and I could completely agree on that fact, Vijayendra, is, data science or AI or ML, these are all the buzzwords which you hear a lot. Okay. everybody will say we are using AI, we are using ML. You need to understand it's a huge space. Okay, you could be a data engineer, but you cannot be a data scientist. Okay, you could be a statistician, but you cannot be a data analyst. These are all different fields. You need to have specific skill sets, specific knowledge to get into this. And being a data scientist comes with a lot of experience. Nobody, you will not see any fresher becoming a data scientist right away, because you need to understand the crux of the business. So when as a computer engineer, I am a computer engineer, I had no idea how to enter this space. Okay. Then you need to also understand the fact that when you are dealing with completely technology solutions, you need to know the technology, but you should also be aware of the business. So I'm gonna go around that. I'm gonna start with the business first, and then I'm gonna introduce the technology part of it, because that's how you're gonna add and understand how you're gonna add value to the business. Okay, so yeah. So anybody in the crowd, I hope people are not sleeping. I understand this is a long session now. Sometimes as a student we tend to miss out on crucial stuff. But any of you are aware what is audit? Have you ever heard of it? Yes. Can I get something around audits? I definitely it's on the screen. Do not I know it's a typical tendency in college, especially COVID, to read out the content and write it, but what can you, as a layman, figure out? What do you mean by audit? Those are buzzwords, huh? I have included the buzzwords. I want to understand as a layman. Nobody? Yeah. Correct. I'm gonna add to it. Basically, audits are something which gives the reassurance, okay, to the stakeholders, the people who are dealing with it. Okay. For example, I create a company and I come to Vijay that my startup is performing, it's amazing, and we are making minting money, we are valued at $10 million and all that. Who will give the reassurance to that? Who will say it's correct? It has to be an independent party, right? I cannot say my company is great, and I cannot say I'm making money and give the reassurance to Vijay who I am pitching for a startup, right? For funding. It has to get audited, right? Somebody as an independent point of view need to understand, need to give that reassurance to the stakeholders that whatever I'm quoting is correct. Then only Vijay will come to me telling, I audited your accounts, I checked everything, you're not 10 billion valued, you're only 5 billion. So I'm not pass. So that's how it works. And that's how in a layman language you understand audit. It's a process of accessing financial, operation, strategic rules, and any process of any organization. Audits are driven by rules and regulations. Okay, it is very specific. You have to adhere to a lot of regulatory guidelines which is established. You also have to give reassurance to stakeholders. You know all the publicly listed firms, right? I think people are also investing in stock markets, right? Yeah. Do you just invest? You read about it, right? और you just you just go and आज टाटा का शेयर अच्छा लग रहा है आज खरीद लेंगे ऐसा करते हो क्या एक बार तो पूछते हो ना to your advisor or any of your friends and colleagues who are kind of regularly investing, right? How do they get to know the financials? Who audits them? These firms. They kind of give you the reassurance that whatever is being detected in the market is actually there, and we are held responsible if we tell that the company is good and it's not good. So it's not just a good part of it of the business. So that's about audit. I'm right now working with internal audit space. Previously, I have also worked with the statutory audit space, which was dealing with very independent auditors. Okay, which actually gives you reassurance. So I'm going to just give you types of audits so that you can understand as well. Typically, there are three types of audits. Okay, which is the internal audit, which you can establish in your firm as well. Okay, and or you can also hire somebody from external party as well who can give you the reassurance that whatever going on in terms of process is correct. Okay, external is driven by government guidelines. Okay, it has to be independent because they're gonna tell and sign your financials. They're gonna give a sign off on the financials. So this is different from exact fintech which you're talking about, and we're not innovating technologies, okay? But we are making the world, we are giving that reassurance that you can invest and understand that these companies are good, okay? Earlier, it was not the case. 5, 10 years back, auditor used to come. They used to take 2 invoices, sign off, all is good. We have not checked the population because we cannot practically get on to 100 GBs of data and tell whether any of your transactions are fraudulent or not. Now you can. That's how it has evolved, and I'm fortunate to be a part of it because I've seen that gradual growth from a very conventional to a very technologically advanced audits. Okay, you kind of audit different kind of functions: finance, HR, payroll, inventory, and all that. Okay, to computer science people, I know it's going bouncer because you are only concerned at the moment right now what programming, technology, and all that. Please understand. The once you are joining the organization, it's very important to understand the business. If you don't understand the business, you cannot make a solution. Okay. So even for any number crunching, for understanding the data, you need to understand the data. And to understand the data, you need to understand the business which you are dealing with, right? So that's how about the audit and business assessment. Let me go to the next slide, which is how it's planned. Okay, because once you understand this process, you'll also get to know how you want to implement analytics here. So audit analytics basically, okay, so I have an example here which I wanted to also understand from the faculty members and the students here. What could be a revenue risk for a company that manages highway tolls? You have a highway toll here, right? IRB, right? Which manages Mumbai-Pune Expressway. Yeah. What is the revenue risk? Any by any chance? Anybody has any idea? What could be the significant? I kind of told it, but it's fine. What could be the significant risk for that company, for which company would really suffer? Nobody from the audience? Okay. Sorry?
Failure of FASTag.
Failure of FASTags. Correct. One of the reasons. Yeah. Any failure which is related to revenue. If the tool stops working for even 1 hour or even for 5 minutes, their revenue is gonna hit.
There are some roads that shows the bypass to the tolls.
Exactly. So they have their revenue is something which is very critical to toll plazas, right? Toll plazas cannot remain unfunctional for a lot of time. Their downtime has to be minimum. Okay, that's the reassurance auditors need to have that your revenue is not leaked. There is no leakage in the revenues. Okay, that's how you understand the risk for any organization. It could be a tool company, which is the risk is majorly around revenue and non-working of the tools. It could be different for a pharma company. It could be different for another manufacturing company. So that's the beauty of consulting and analytics, where you kind of understand, different kind of organization, their business need, and you design solutions as per that. Okay, so that's around this. Process flow is basically we understand the significance of risk, how major the risk is, what is the likelihood of frequency of these risks. We kind of create an action plan and we do preventive and mitigation procedures. So that's how we design the audits. This is how it's going to get planned. Now, sound easy to everybody, right? Easy. Revenue देखना है, tools बनना and all that, and वो चलता है, right? But trust me, it's not. It's not, because you have to understand the requirements. You have to identify the sources. It could be structured, it could be unstructured, it could be a different kind of IT system which you are dealing with, right? So you also have to gain access to data. For example, tool management company can have the access to data only up to they are using an ERP called SAP. People have heard of it, right? SAP. Anybody knows SAP, Oracle? Yeah. So these ERPs changes. So the data source changes. There's a continuous change data source. You also have to identify the risk areas, control, and design the KPIs accordingly. Selection of suitable technologies. I'm going to come back to this later on, so that at least for computer science people or the students and the aspirants, they understand what kind of technology we use to build solution. Because am I ML and any kind of machine learning algorithms are just a procedure. You have to actually code it. You have to actually write it somewhere to make it work, right? So I'm gonna come to that. So our kind of any kind of analytics is designed around these four space, which is operational, financial, strategic, and regulatory. Okay. On the screen you see a word cloud, right? Any of the things which I have ever come across, any of the terminologies, any of the jargons? None? It's a pretty new content then. This will all help you to understand the financials. Okay. So these are, as written data audit has a better idea. So actually we have to leverage that. So this I'm going to explain later on in terms of what kind of risk we are covering. Okay. Yeah. Typical, I always hear this, data analytics is different. We want to do data science. Can you see the person standing there? He maybe the CEO or something. He's asking whether absolutely he can trust those numbers, and the fingers are crossed. Because he doesn't know whether it is complete or accurate or not. Okay. Similarly, let's solve this problem by using big data. And none of us have license and business people. They don't typically know. Okay, they throw jargons at you. ये करते हैं with big data, वो करते हैं with ML. Do they actually know? None of us know, yeah. How you're expecting a management person who has spent his entire tenure in management to know ML and AI algorithms? They can't. They can only throw buzzword ads at you. You need to understand, that we all want data science, but let me help you understand what are the typical audit analytics areas which you can make your career in. You can also, design solutions. I'm going to give specific examples of the solutions of the very specific innovation solutions or a machine learning algorithm which we have designed to ensure that the audits are more efficient, it's more satisfactory and gives a proper reassurance. Okay. So typically these audit areas provide reassurance of the entire population rather than just on the audit samples. Moreover, these firms going digital, you must have heard, for example, I want to audit a firm, right? Now, while auditing a firm, last time when I audited, they had vendor invoices in form of documents. So I kind of, made my team sit and, cross verified all the invoices. This time they have put everything to Azure. Know what? I'm going to do the audits. That's how we come into picture. Okay. I'm not a chartered accountant. I do not come with immense of experience. I'm learning, I'm growing, but I need to understand the business. Okay. That's how you are trying to inculcate analytics, data analytics into audits, so that you can design an OCR tool which kind of typically analyzes invoice names and invoice amounts and give you a summary which you can correlate back to the financials and check if the company, if the CFO has told you that we had given 2 crore rupees payment to vendors, it's actually 2 crore or it has moved to his own personal account. Okay, that's how we are helping out in audits. So audit analytics typically has segmentation in terms of risk, solution, process, dashboarding, and advanced analytics. The example which I just gave you of OCR algorithm, which takes into processing the vendor invoices and give you later on how what vendor got paid how much. If the vendor was paid on a weekend, why the hell vendor was paid on a weekend? Payment has to be released on weekdays, right? When the office is working. There are a lot of checks and balances as an auditor you have to do, right? So that's how technically, even computer engineers kind of, pave their path into Big Fours. And that's how I also entered, this slide is the most important one because this will give you a very clear understanding of what we are talking about. Okay. Risk analytics. Okay. Any analytics which you do around risk areas. This is not peer-to-peer. Let me clarify. Not the content of peer-to-peer. This is procure to pay. Okay. What you get from the vendor and how much you released. If you have given an order for 200 boxes, you should be paying for 200, not 250. And that 50 should not move into the account of any other employee or somebody from the company internally. It has to go to the vendor. Okay. Similarly, O2C process, revenue, etc. These are mostly business and industry oriented rules and reporting. Very basic analysis, but helps. Okay. The second is solution development, which is enhanced analytics capability for wider implementation. Have you heard of AR? Yes. Such a silent audience this is now. Account receivable. If something else was coming in mind, this is finance. Okay, it's account receivable. Okay, GL is general ledger. So there are certain solutions which you design for one time and it is applicable for across industries because you kind of audit those industries and companies every time. So those become solution part of the solution development. Okay, I'm gonna give a very recent example which we did. It's called a stock of analyzer. Okay, now what is stock of analyzer? Let me go back 2 minutes. Allow me 2 minutes. Recently, there is an amendment which tells you that as per the government list, you cannot deal with these fraudulent companies. Okay, these are all bogus companies, we call them. Okay, Hawala. Okay, that's the right word for it, right? You cannot deal with them. Government states, the states or different states of India kind of upload their Hawala company names on the Ministry of Corporate Affairs website every month. Okay, but these data are not uploaded like the way we want. Sometimes image, it's Word file, which we done. Trust me. Okay. Now, considering this change which has happened, and as a part of the company, you need to ensure that none of the transactions you have with any of these firms, any of these companies which is listed in those PDS. Now, this solution, what we developed, kind of scraps it from the website, pulls the data, make it right, compares the clients, compares the client's content or vendors or customers with these lists and tells you whether you have done any transaction in the past or not. That's how you get the reassurance. So this is one of the solution development which I spoke about. Okay. Let me move to the third part, which is process automation. Very new. Okay, process automation is something which you can, when you automate a process, you are automating the process from order to cash. Let me give you example of Amazon. You kind of select the order, right? You put it in the cart, then you go to the payment page, you pay, you get an invoice. The invoice के बाद में आता है, you get an acknowledgement. Okay, that's a complete order to cash cycle which goes on. So when you select the product, inventory gets checked in the back end. It gives you available on this pin code for delivery, supply chain is informed, a lot of things which goes on the side. When you automate such process for any of the companies, that comes into the category of process automation. Okay, so that's also what we do as a part of data analytics and automation process. BI solution is basically for digital reporting and dashboard driven approach, as last time Mr. Vijayendra told. You need to we absorb most of the content when we actually see it through the eyes, right? We don't like to see the numbers. मैं सबको number दूंगा, a tabular format, pivot, Excel pivot, everybody has worked around, right? Excel pivot and a chart, you always pick up chart because that's kind of giving a more effective way of representing data. This is largely used for CXOs, management level, for understanding the trend, gap, MIS, and revenues. Okay, so that's kind of the BI solution which we also develop. Something, lot of things around advanced analytics, which comes under machine learning part of it, very advanced part of it, yet we kind of utilized during audits, yet being used. Gonna give a very simple example here. These are the advanced predictive data analytics models, which basically gives the early warning systems to auditors like us. Okay. For example, if I design something, uh, that tells me that every quarter the revenue or for revenue for this revenue from this vendor or this customer or in this region, this country should not cross a threshold of 5 million, right? Because that's how I understood the historical data. But if that model is running and before the audit itself is starting, it is giving me outliers, I'm not going to audit the entire area. I'm only going to audit that particular country data. That's how you say that. Okay. So yeah, using ML forecasting models, we use forecasting models. Somebody remembers Arima is one of the very famous forecasting model, which is used to create forecasting of sales and all. To detect outliers, anomalies for that assisted further investigation. So the next time when I'm auditing, I'm not going to put my efforts on something which is not significant, not relevant. I'm going to focus on something which my model tells me, boss, yahan lafda hai. Check this out. I'm going to I'm going to put my manpower there. So that's how you're utilizing your innovating the processes. Okay. So that's about analytics, areas and automation. Yeah, computer engineers in the room, people who are just purely technical, does not understood anything out of the business which I just told. People who are online, too many options. What do I choose? No, I always, whenever I'm interacting with students or any of my, previous colleagues, something, one question is always common. क्या टूल पे अगर हम ट्रेनिंग कर लेंगे तो we will get through. Very practical questions, yeah, but how we fit? You must choose and you choose wisely, right? So there you can see on the screen there's an analytics maturity stage. So you start with descriptive, you go with diagnostic, predictive, and last comes the descriptive part. To reach predictive, you must know descriptive and diagnostic. You cannot just do predictive without knowing your data. How you will get to know what has happened, what is the information that you will get from descriptive part. Then you will move to diagnostic. So that actually, if I tell you in very brief way, the tools and technologies differ over the stages. Okay, it is just I cannot apply support vector machine model in descriptive analytics. It's useless nonsense. You cannot do that, right? It's predictive analytics. If I do not know my data, how will I apply a classification model? What is my objective which I want to achieve, right? In that way, I'll move to the descriptive part. So these are the certain technologies which will always help you whenever you're building career around fintech, around any financial technology, any companies which you're dealing with, finance, analytics, companies, big fours, auditors, everything. Okay. So these are the typical tools which I have used throughout my career from start when I started building it. Python, Power BI, Excel, RStudio, mostly used for predictive modeling, Audits, very famous these days, PostgreSQL and Tableau. Now, shape your career. Yeah. So you don't need to be a finance or audit expert to get into fintech, right? Fintech is the buzzword here today, right? So you don't need to be an expert around finance to get into fintech. You need to be innovative. You need to understand the market. You need to understand the objectives. Okay. Focus on data and develop analytical skills to bring insights. How you will get to this stage is only when you are clear with your diagnostic and descriptive analytics, right? Being technical always helps, but not necessary. Financial analytical bend is also important. Okay, you could be a very smart coder. If I give you a solution, you will code it in 2 minutes and give it to me. But what you are giving to me is not making any sense. Okay, that will not serve the purpose. So you need to understand the process behind it and what is the objective which you want to achieve. Okay, focus on predominant technologies like SQL, Excel, VBA. These seems old, right? Very old. SQL, the Purana, Excel, VBA again, very old stuff. Trust me, majority of the data which you deal with, you can still deal with SQL. Okay, that's the core foundation of any analytic solution, right, which you're building. The database is built in that way. Excel, VBA, macro, something which you can automate. Very, you should be hands-on on these technologies. One visualization tool you must know because that helps to understand the data. It could be Power BI, it could be Tableau, it could be ClickView, anything. But one technology solution which is focused on visualization part of it will definitely help. Okay. Hands on one scripting language that basically helps you to write machine learning codes, machine learning models, which helps you to build solutions around it. That Python and R can help you with, right? That's how there could be n many. This is not an exhaustive list, trust me. I've given it based on my understanding and my experience. Okay. And the last, and I want to reiterate and go back to what I started. Last but important Don't wait or restrict yourself. Please have a start in the career. Okay, it not be the right career for you in fintech. You think you can, actually do better. Still start because that's how you will get the experience and you'll carve your pathway to exactly where you want to be. So, that's all for my time. I will take the questions later on. Thank you so much.